Good afternoon, everybody. So my name is Mark Podolskij. I'm Vice World Champion 2007. I'm a drafts grandmaster, and today I'll give a masterclass for you. So let me shortly speak about what we'll do in the masterclass. So of course I will review some nice games. That is the main point of the masterclass. But I also try to give you advice how you can progress your game, how you can develop and improve as a drafts player. And I will tell you some stories about my own drafts career. So let's start. Let's start right here. And well, my first advice to you when you learn drafts, go from easy to more complicated. And that's exactly how we start here. We start with something which is easy. And what is kind of the easiest and most beautiful part of drafts game, these are combinations. So we start with some combinations, and I'll present some of them which appeared in my games. And not only those which I won, but maybe also those which I lost. So let's start with our first game. And this was played in Nijmegen Open more than 20 years ago. Oh, I'm sorry for that. So let's go back. More than 20 years ago. And my opponent played with white, and I play black over here. And my opponent is very ambitious in this game and starts with the most exciting move, probably 35-30. So obviously I take the challenge. So it's 20-25, 33-29, 15-20. Now, to tell you the story behind this game is I started very early during my drafts career to work with computers and to analyze positions. Actually, even not very realistic positions, which do not often happen in the game. But one of them, which I analyzed, is exactly what the opponent played, is this exchange variation, also a very ambitious one. So, as you can see over here, white puts a piece on 23. And of course, my job is to attack this piece in a nice manner. And what I will play here, well, will lead to a very nice variation. But you will also see in drafts, every move matters. So the way I go towards this variation is also very instructive. So my first move is 10-15. So what type of signal do I give to my opponent? The signal I gave is that I plan to exchange and to attack the piece on 23. So what is the most natural move to answer? Well, is to prepare for this and to occupy the square 40, right? To prepare for the attack and to defend. And what is the kind of most intuitive way to occupy the square 40 is to play 45-40, right? Okay, that's exactly what I wanted him to do. Well, then I play the next move. 16-21. Well, what is the point here? Well, obviously, I'm threatening to win the piece, right? Whoop, sorry. To win the piece this way. So, how to defend? Well, there are various ways you can defend. So, of course, you can go 31-26. So, you can play here. But this is rather tricky. This gives me the option to occupy the square 27 and to play with center. It looks quite dangerous. So my opponent decided, to play a different move, namely this one, 37-32. And this is exactly what I prepared a long time ago. So now I attack the piece on 23, right? Again, how can you defend against this attack? Well, there are basically two options. So one option is to play this move, is just to defend over here, with the idea to exchange a piece like this. But unfortunately, it doesn't work so well. So I can attack. White can play this way, for instance, and I can play to 17. And then I start surrounding this piece on 23, right? So which may look quite dangerous. That's not what my opponent had in mind. He had in mind to simplify the position. So he plays the move 31, 27. So I take two pieces. He takes on 16, and now he will win the piece on 37, right? And the position simplifies. But now remember, all these things were planned. So I ask you the question, how would you play here with black and win? Look at the holes in the positions. Look how can you exploit all these holes in the position and try to find an unexpected move. So I hope you had some time to evaluate. And if you found this move, then good luck. Good luck to you. So, and this is a move which is very easy to oversee in the game. So of course, what happens there, so white takes, and then you open up a piece 11. Now you can play 11, 17, white takes, 17, 22, white takes, and black takes three pieces, and ends up with one piece more, right? So this is a very nice minimalistic game where you can see that, well, combination is a very nice part of the game, especially if they're prepared. But we already learned here, combinations is only one part of the game. So when you are young, you might think, well, I play a game and I see a nice combination and I do everything to employ this combination in the game. But we will see later when you progress with your game, combinations or tactics, they shouldn't be the main part of the game, but they should be a part of your big plan. So which is very different. When you're young, you may win some nice games just with combination, just to play for them. But that's not what you should do when you progress, when you play against stronger players. Okay? So let's look at the next game, which I played in the team competition against Erwin Hoynen with black. And so my opponent started with 34-30, 18-22. So we develop. So it's a development phase. 33-29, quite ambitious move. I develop in a normal fashion. White also develops quite normally. So we arrive at this position. I attack 19-23. White exchanges pieces to 29, right? So let's briefly stop here. So now I will have to find a plan, right? So this is a rather normal position, but probably black is slightly better, has a bit more center, and white has the pieces on the on the rim, which is never a good idea. But well, it's roughly equal. And then we go for the following variation. So I start playing 13-19, and Erwin answers with 32-28. Well, let me pause here. Of course, I try to evaluate this position and to find a good long-term plan. But this doesn't stop me to incorporate my tactical ideas into a long-term plan, right? So what I thought in this position is that sooner or later, I would need to exchange this piece, right? And build up my position from there. So the question, of course, the natural question is, when shall I do it? And I decided to do it now. So I played 1923. Aaron takes, I take 2. And let's again stop here. So, well, you have 2 options how you can take my piece. Now, the reason why I played this is a little bit psychological. So when we play drafts and we arrive at this position with these 2 options to take the piece, in many positions, you don't like to take it this way. So why? Because you give me a free tempo. And I can try to use this tempo to do, well, to do a combination, right? You have holes in your position over here and over here. So I can try to do a combination. So people, experienced people, usually would not take this way, right? And that is what I was relying on. So Evan took the other way, because if you do it this way, you don't give me a free tempo. So I will take a piece on 14, and white will take a piece, and we'll proceed on playing, right? And that is, I think, what Erwin had in mind, but he overlooked something, right? So look at this position and try to find what is the best way, actually, to take the piece. And again, try to look for non-obvious moves. So if you found this move, congratulations to you. This is the one which wins the game immediately. So what Erwin has overlooked is that I can give another piece on 24. I play 22, 27, give 2 pieces again. One more, 12, 18. Right. And here, actually, Erwin resigned, so he has 1 piece more. But he will need to give 2 pieces to catch my king. So, for instance, he can play this. I'll take 2. He'll give 1 more piece. I take 1. And now I end up with 1 piece more. And obviously the position is 1, so he resigned. Right. So what do we learn from this game? So I'm not just playing for combinations. I'm not just playing for tactics. But tactics are part of my long-term plan. And as I said, we'll see those cases much more often later. So, of course, you're very happy to win a fast game like this, but sometimes there are longer games. And well, as I promised you, so you try to learn something about the improvement of your game as a drafts player. And I tried to give you some advices, which I wish I would have received when I was young. So, and you know, maybe some of you know, I'm now professor in mathematics, so I also learned something in mathematics which resembles how you should learn drafts. And one thing you learn, so you start, again, you should start learning basic things. You should start learning basic idea, basic combination, basic endgames, and so forth. But don't stop there. So you should go further and further. And you should also learn what the top players are playing nowadays. What are the new ideas in the game? This is your next step. As a mathematician, what I learned is actually a very important message. So if you start doing mathematics, or you play drafts or chess or something, you might be very, very talented. But trust me, you need to learn a lot. no matter how talented you are. You need to invest a lot of time. And what mathematics told me is basically the more you learn, the more instruments you get, mathematical instruments, the greater ideas you can employ. And this is the same in drafts. The more you learn, the more you increase your knowledge, and the harder you work, obviously, the better the outcome, right? So don't rely purely on your talent. At a particular point of your career, this will not be sufficient. You should work hard, you should study the games of the top players, and later you should develop your own ones. So let's move on. So we're still looking at tactics. So I show you next game of, well, I think it was also in a team competition in Netherlands against Frank Verdel. And here I show you the whole game, right? So I'm playing with white. I go again with a rather ambitious opening, 33-29. So we build up the Keller variation up to here. So this is a standard Keller opening, but Frank declines the standard variations and plays 20-25. So then it's kind of normal in this positions to proceed with 35-30, 19-23, 30-24, and here Frank goes for an exchange, right? So we develop further in a rather kind of normal fashion, 37-31, 9-13, and now I exchange back to further build up my position. Of course, black has gained already a couple of tempi, so I have to account for that. On the other hand, black has also some kind of undeveloped pieces on the side, so I can try to make use of that, right? So Frank plays 3-8. I respond 37-31, 4-9, 41-37, 14-20, 33-28, and Frank exchanges to 22. So it's now in this stage, it's a normal game. We develop, we have our own ideas. Now the position becomes more concrete. So we would need to calculate how the pieces come together, how can we use each other's weaknesses. And so I can come up with the following plan. So we still build up quite normally. And then we arrive at this position. And basically 12-17. Now I already foreseen this type of variation. So of course, in a second, whites and black moves will basically expire. So there will be no moves. The pieces are all together. So there is, a certain excitement here, how you proceed from there. So, and I go for the following plan: 36-31, 7-12, and now I play. So I want to keep my column over here. So this is kind of important in all variations. So what I do, I play 40-35, and now basically here black runs out of normal moves, so to speak. So black needs to come up with a plan. So what I mean, for instance, okay, like a sample variation. So if you would go for this exchange variation, which is, of course, very bad. So this is exchange, you think, but then white just gives a piece and takes 3 over here to the king. So this is bad, but obviously Frank sees this and he plays another exchange variation, which is much better, 25-30. So he gives up a piece, but then immediately takes it back by playing 22-27. And again, let's look at this position. So, of course, this is a variation which I've seen a couple of moves earlier, and I was quite happy to get this position. So here, well, black does control a center to some extent, but has also some weak pieces over here, which I'll try to use. And as you may know, so some standard ideas in those position where you play against 36. So some standard ideas, you either want to get a classical game, then you have to put a piece on 27 and try really to strengthen this piece. And sometimes you have other ideas which are related to occupying the square on 29 and try to be strong up there. But obviously the second idea is not very good, because the moment you occupy this field, 29, black will exchange it via 20-24, right? So I go for the other idea, 37-32, 20-24, and now I occupy the field 20-27. So let's look at this again. So, of course, black has still problems over here, right? But on the other hand, it has a, very strong kind of column on this side, which helps black a lot. So it prevents me from occupying the field 28, for instance. So I have to, think hard for a kind of plan. And now black plays, very exciting move, 15-20. So usually it's a move, it's a very committal decision. So, and of course you have to think about how do I punish this, right? And the idea is, of course, the black's idea is to move the piece here. And then maybe, if given a chance, to exchange, right? So I have to think how to remove this piece, right? But it needs to be prepared. And this is what I do. So I prepare 38-32, right? So I have done some calculations and found a plan how I can exploit this weakness, but completely forgot to check for combinations. So now it's your turn as black to find the variation and to show me how Frank won this game. So again, if I ask you, and if I say there is a combination, so look for my weaknesses. I think they're pretty obvious here. There are tons of holes in the position. So look, how can you exploit all these weaknesses? So if you found the move 24-29, congratulations. So you would won the game against me exactly as Frank did. So I took 3 pieces to the king. Now Frank plays 19-24. I take 2. 9-14. I take 1. And then I have to take with the king to 22. And Frank takes 5 pieces to the king. And not only it's a very nice combination, but I also have extremely bad luck, because if I would play 49-44 in this position with the idea to catch the king, well, unfortunately, you don't catch the king. Because black can take 2 over here, right? And then you are just lost. So I just decided to resign in this position, right? So what do we learn here? So I tried to find, a very, very long plan how to exploit the weaknesses of black even in the previous moments of the game, but just for a split second forgot to check for combinations. And this was enough. Sometimes it's enough just to forget it for a split second. So now, as I told you, combinations are nice, especially the beautiful ones, and we'll see more of them here. But remember, combinations or tactics should be a part of your long-term plan. And I want to show you, well, maybe not the complete game, but a nice variation which I had in the game against Alexander Schwartzman. So I played with white, Alexander played with black, so a little bit of history. This game, I think it was played in 2010. Now, it was a grandmaster tournament with a lot of great players, with Alexander Schwartzman, Günther Wallenreis, Alexander Georgiev, I think Jiofang, and so forth. Many players, like 10 top players. And maybe some of you know, 2010, I was not playing actively anymore. So I basically stopped in 2008. And I think it was Harm Wismar who invited me to this tournament. So I prepared and came to play. And I played, well, I was not super successful in terms of results, but I think I still played a couple of interesting games. And you will see some of them here. So I play with white. And well, Alexander goes for this exchange variation to 21. So let me again, for some of you who are young, tell you some stories. Actually, when I played in the early 2000s, so this exchange variation to 21 was very popular in grandmaster level, and it was actually very hard to find, good variations for white here on a high theoretical level. I mean, when people know the theory well, it's very hard to get advantage here, right? So you have to develop new ideas. And I actually came up with one. So of course, this was preparation from my early active days, but I was not able to play it in a game. So I thought this is a good opportunity to play it against Alexander. So the way it starts, so 33, 29, 7, 12, 39, 33, 19, 23, and now I play 35, 30. So let's stop here for a second. I mean, if you know Alexander Schwartzman, he is, well, one of the best players of all time, I think, especially in terms of surrounding. So if you play moves like 35, 30, you should be, you should know what you are doing here. But if you are prepared, then things are fine. So let's go further. 20, 25, 44, 39. So we build up. So here's also one tricky move, 50, 44. So this prevents black from playing natural 10, 14. So again, it's a simple combination. You give one piece over here, give the second one. You take 3 pieces. Then you give one more, 29, 23. And after all this operation, you end up with 1 piece more. But of course, Alexander Schwartzman is a grandmaster for a reason. So of course, people see it. So you have to play 15, 20, right? So I play 40, 35, 10, 15, and now I exchange to 24. So now let's stop here again. When you learn how to play drafts, right? So you start counting, okay, how often can black attack this piece on 24? And okay, if you count, it's 4 times. And how often can I defend it? 3 times, right? If you are a more experienced player, you even know, well, sometimes even if you can attack it only 3 times, I can defend it 3 times. Even then, it's bad for white, sometimes. So playing this move is quite dangerous. So first of all, black has to go to 26, and white plays 44-40. So, and this looks extremely dangerous. So what is the plan here? So the plan is the following. Actually, I played variation of this type earlier, and I asked myself, what would happen if black plays 9-14 and tries to immediately attack the piece? Well, if you see these holes over here, this suggests that maybe white can play 31-27 and use these holes with the idea of playing like this, right? But that also you ask yourself, okay, but what happens if black attacks 14-19 anyway? And then if you look at this position, well, this idea of playing 27-22, well, at the moment it's useless. Okay, I will grab a piece on 24, then just exchange, then I'm one piece down. I mean, what is the point? And on the other hand, if I exchange, then my position is hopeless. I will not be able to defend. So let's say if I play this move and just exchange, then black can just close both of these holes, which I just showed you, and just attack my piece and win, right? So what is the point of this whole variation? Well, the point is that there is a nice combination over here. It's an exchange combination, but it gives white a good position. And it's very hard, I think it's very hard to miss, even for experienced players. So I gave you a couple of seconds to find this good variation. And again, try to think about holes in the position, in the black position, which I already outlined. So if you found the move 49-44, congratulations, say black takes. White plays 29-24, so gives one more piece. And now black should really take this piece and exchange, and white ends up with a better position, because if you don't do it, if you play 30-19, then there is another nice combination. So I give a piece on 22, I exchange, opening up this free field on the 16, and then I play 34-30 and take to 16. Now we have equal amount of pieces, but the position is very dangerous for black. And this is because I can just try to win this piece over here. So this is quite a nice variation. This is not what happened in the game. So I'm not sure if Alexander saw this variation or not, but he played just a 1-7. I just briefly show how it continued. So it turns out that despite the fact that black can attack this piece more often than white can defend, it turned out that black cannot use it. Black cannot win the piece. And after a couple of moves, we ended up in an equal position. So we played like this, and I think shortly after we agreed on a draw. So this is how you build in your tactics into your long-term plans, right? Maybe we'll need a break, a technical break, shortly. So welcome back, and we will proceed to review some tactical games and how tactics can be useful in your long-term plans. And this is the game I will present you is against Murodil Amriliaev, which I played against him in the World Championship in 2007. And despite the fact that it ended in a draw, I think it's quite instructive. So here I play with the black pieces, and we start with 32-28, 17-21, and 33-29. So let's stop here. So of course, if you play such an important tournament, so you have to know who your opponent is, so how he plays, and well, what his basic ideas are. So the approach of Murodil Amriliaev in this tournament was safety first. So, and because I want to avoid exchange variation, I go for 20-25. So we keep on developing normally. And it's very obvious if you look at this position that white plays in the center and black tries to surround the center. And that will be the topic of the game. How do you surround the center without any weaknesses, more or less, on the white side? Which is very tricky, but let's see how we play. So white exchanges, black attacks, and white exchanges again. So here we arrive at the position where white has 8 tempi more already. So black should be careful how to proceed, should be very exact. So plays 7-12, 41-37, now I exchange at 23, white plays 46-41, 10-14, and white exchanges. Again, if you look at this position, so usually it's very hard to surround such a center, right? The only pieces which you might say are slightly weak are the ones on the rim over here. It's very hard to use them. So white has a pretty dominant position, and it's relatively hard to surround this. But, well, let's see how I try to do it in this game. So we play. Now I exchange to 21. So I have to start. I'm so far down when we count the tempi that I have to exchange central pieces of white, at least to have an opportunity to surround. So now we exchange again. White plays 43-38. I answer with 5-10. And here white commits a very small positional mistake, right? So I think if you develop normally like this, it's very hard to do something extremely active for black, but white gives me the opportunity by exchanging. Now, I attack once on 20, which leads to one more exchange. When we now look at the position, at least black has some chances to surround it, right? Because, as I said, so white has this underdeveloped pieces over here, which I can use. And black, despite being behind a little bit in development in terms of tempi, actually doesn't have any weaknesses here, right? So let's see how this can be used. So 11-17, 44-39, I play 13-18, and 49-43, right? Now I play 6-11, 39-33, so we develop normally, 21-26, okay? So again, players on this level, we don't play for combinations. We have long-term plans. But it doesn't harm you to incorporate nice small tactics in your long-term plans. And so Murad and Relief played correctly 41-37, but another option was to exchange and try to develop your weak pieces over here. So can you tell me in a couple of seconds why this is not possible? Why this is not a good variation? And again, as usual, try to discover some holes in White's position and to use them to your advantage. So obviously, if Black would have a piece over here, it would be an easy combination, right? Like, for instance, 14-19, you give two pieces, and then you take 2-46. So, but you don't have any pieces here. So you have to find a similar idea, and the similar idea, and if you found it, congratulations. This is a little bit hidden. So you give one piece over here, give one more piece to 23, 26-31, 9-13. Now White has to take to the king, and Black has one free tempo and can play this move with probably a winning position, right? So again, my game is not based on this combination, but it's nice to have these tactics to prevent White from playing one of the more natural moves. So Murad Amrulaev plays the correct move, 41-37. I continue my development. White now exchanges the piece. Now again, White has a relatively strong center. The only undeveloped pieces are these two. So I have to play kind of against these undeveloped pieces. Usually it accounts in controlling these two fields for Black. So I have to be very careful to control this flank of the board. So let's see how I do it. So first I play 14-20, 45-40, and now I play 18-22. So now I occupy this field and basically try to control this flank over here, which is very difficult. There are not so many weaknesses in White position. So White develops, Black develops. White correctly saying that it's a good idea to move more pieces to this flank, and if necessary, to exchange, to stabilize the position between the two flanks. So Black plays 11-16, 43-38, 13-18. So I also bring more pieces to this flank over here, right, to get a grip. Now White exchanges, Black plays 16-21. So it's quite natural. This type of positions you can see, in many games. They're all roughly equal. So White has a more central grip on the center, have slight weaknesses maybe on this flank, right? But maybe not super important. On the other hand, Black is maybe a little bit underdeveloped, but has no weaknesses, right? So this is the game. And now White plays an innocent-looking move, 36-31, which is just, another development move, say. But it turns out it's not so innocent as it looks like. And here I use a tactical idea, which in fact I haven't seen so often in this type of positions, but for some reason it works here. So I play 21-27, so I take the piece. So the question is, what can you do here? Well, well, there are two options. Either you play 31-26 or you play 41-36. And it turns out that none of them is good. So let us, let's say we play this move, right? So try to find how white loses after this move. This is not what was played in the game. So I give you a couple of seconds. So if you found 18-23, congratulations. So this is somewhat non-standard combination. So what is the point? The point is when you take 2-19, I give you two more pieces, and then I play 8-13 and I win. Okay, so what happens? Okay, you can also take 29-18. Then I would take one piece over here, two pieces on 42. And then the simplest is just playing 27-31. So here black and white have equal amount of pieces, but there is no way you can save this game, right? So I think this move 21-27 came as a surprise for Murad in this position, but he found the best defense. So he played 41-36. But now I can still play 18-23. Again, we already learned that if you take on 19, you will immediately lose. I give you two pieces and play 8-13 and win. So that's why it's important to take 29-18. So I take one piece here and two pieces here. And the reason why this combination is so unusual is that white also makes a lot of progress. So white is really near the king with a lot of central pieces, and white has one piece more. But the problem is when I put my king on 47, so the first thing you see, I will win this piece over here. And also it's very hard to make a king with this one. So in the game, Murad played 11-6, so I took the piece. Now we have equal pieces. And the problem is obviously you can't take this king because I just immediately catch it and win. So in this position, you have to give yet another piece. And only here you can take a king. So if you look at this position, now we have a very complicated endgame. But black has one piece more and excellent chances to win. So unfortunately, I didn't win this game. So we played draw. But I think among all of opponents of Murad Amrilayev in this tournament, I was the closest one to win a game. So, but here you see this is an example how you build tactics into long-term plans, right? We're in a position where surrounding was not easy at all, where white had essentially no weaknesses. Still, black, with the help of tactics, was able to make some progress. So let's move on to some more tactics. And I will start with this position, which actually didn't appear in the game. But it is related to one game I played against Vadim Verny, very strong grandmaster from Germany. So I played a game against Vadim, and in my calculations, it's not what happened in the game, but in my calculations, I arrived at this position, right? And then I asked myself, so, okay, what happens? I play with black. what happens if white attacks 31-26? And, you know, I want to win, so ask myself this question. And, well, the first thing you see is, well, probably I can play 8-13, white takes. Black plays 7-12, white takes 3 pieces. Black takes to 45. And now if you look at this position, well, yes, black is very close to the king, but white has 2 pieces more. And white can play, for instance, 37-31, which prevents you from taking a king. So of course, you cannot just play this because white will catch your king. And actually, you will not be able to get a king for a long time. And on the other hand, if you look at this flank over here, it's pretty weak. So it's questionable if you would be able actually to win this position, 2 pieces down and not being able to take a king. So let us return. So I thought to myself, okay, what will happen over here? So can I somehow pull off a trick and win it? And the answer is, of course, yes, I can. And that's a nice exercise for you. So to check what is the right move here. It's not exactly a combination. It's more a Zugzwang, but a very beautiful one. Right? So I give you a couple of seconds. And I hope you have found this move, 25-30. So white takes to 17. Well, then you might think, okay, looks good. I think I understand your idea. I understand what you want to do. I will just attack over here and win. Right? I win a piece, I go to 45. But things are not that simple, because if you attack immediately, white has this nice move, 35-30. Now remember, when we play 100 fields, you have to take the majority over here. White takes 2 pieces back, white is 1 piece up. No way you can win this position, right? So that's maybe not quite the idea, but it goes in the right direction. It turns out black has to give 1 more piece, 18-22. So now black is 2 pieces down, and it plays 30-34. Well, this is a very beautiful position. So why do I call it Zugzwang? Well, if it were black's move, black would just take to 41. And white would take back. We will end up with an equal amount of pieces. And white would have even a better position, if it were possible. But it's not black's move. It's white's turn to move. And it turns out, well, there are no good moves over here. So, well, let's check. Of course, the old move, which we tried, doesn't work anymore because black just takes 3 pieces and now white is lost. So if you just take back over here, I take 2 pieces and I win. So if you go back, so what else can you play? Of course, if you close the field 32, I just take 1 piece over here, I win. So what else is available? The only other available move is this one. Then we exchange, so white is temporarily 1 piece up. But the problem is that black has a very simple combination, which immediately wins. Right? So yet another tactical idea, very nice idea. And, well, which wins the game immediately, right? Again, I remind you, this is not exactly the variation we played in the game. This is something which I was calculating, And in my calculation, I've seen this variation. Actually, the game we actually played ended up in a draw. Okay, so let's see some more variations. So we come back to the Grandmaster tournament in 2010, a really strong Grandmaster tournament, and I think it's a game of the last round, and I played against Daria Tkachenko, who hopefully all of you know. So she was a women world champion several times, and well, this is the last game, and again I decided to play. Maybe it would be the last game of my career. It turned out not to, and I decided to play something exciting. So I started to play Keller variation for white, which basically means that you have to surround, you have to suffer, you have to play against black's central position. And we arrived at this position here. And this is already looking not so bad for white. So white controls this flank, say, with these pieces. So black cannot make any progress on this side of the board. And of course, the typical plan for black is, to build up pieces over here and try to exchange 1721. So it means for white, now white has to control this flank. So have to build a really good grip on this side. And this is exactly what I do immediately with 42-37, using the fact that, of course, black is not able to play this move at the moment, right? So black proceeds to build up. Now it's a kind of only active idea black has. And okay, so black is preparing to exchange. But of course I had calculated this, so I have foreseen this variation. And then my approach was, okay, I play 46-41. Black exchanges to 21. And now white attacks. And black has no other options than to exchange once again. So if you look at this position, so position simplified, there are maybe no strong weaknesses in this position for either side. Black is, well, a bit more developed in terms of tempi, but again, white has no weaknesses. And on the other hand, white cannot attack this piece on 32 successfully. So why did I play this variation? Because when I calculated this in some moves earlier, I saw this nice move, 39-32. So the question is, what are you doing in this position? So the threat is obvious. The threat is to give one piece and take 3. Right? Now, how can you prevent it? Well, the move 4-9 is, of course, very weak. So now I don't need to win the space. I can just exchange it. And then this flank is very weak. I'll just give late a piece on 20 and just promote my piece on 15 to a king. And I will win, right? So this cannot be the defense. The most natural defense is 13-18, right? This is the most natural defense. And this is probably what Daria wanted to play when she calculated this before. But again, she missed the tactic. Okay? Now, question to you. So what is a tactic in this position? Again, it's always the same saying, look at the holes in the black position and how you can use it. And don't forget that, You can give a number of pieces, black gets a king, and then maybe it's useful for you. So if you found the move 33-28, congratulations. So indeed, so black takes 36-31, take 2 pieces to 47. Now white has a move, a tempo, plays 29-24, and then takes 3 pieces over here and wins, right? So let us now go back and review. So this position, so indeed, at this point, Daria saw this combination and decided to play for 9, but lost this game in a couple of moves. So you may think, well, it's a nice variation. Well, good for you that you found this forcing line. But actually, it turns out to be that white is not winning here if black plays the correct move. So try to find the move. And while you are thinking, so let me give you kind of a hint. So white is planning to give 1 and take 3 and win. The question is it winning in all variations? Or does black has a counter to this plan? And the answer is yes, black does have a counter. Namely, this very nice move, 16-21. Now, if white takes the combination, so white is 2 pieces up, looks winning, but black has a counter combination. So, and white is definitely not winning this one, right? So in fact, there was a counter combination in this position, which is nice, right? So if Daria would play this position, then I think the position is more or less equal, but we would just continue to play, right? So let us look at another kind of interesting game I played against Beethoven Stratton, right? So I think we played this game in Brunsum Open, again, many years ago. I think the tournament which I actually won. And let us review it. So I play with black and Benno plays with white. So goes for quite ambitious opening with white. And we start playing, the more classical approach. Now, if you know the most recent variations in this line, they are much more crazy and go into different direction. But in those days, it's maybe 20 years ago, we played more classical. So we developed pieces. This is a kind of a classical way to develop it. This is all more or less classical theory up to a particular point. So I think theoretically, as far as I remember, you're supposed to play 47-41. But this is not how the game goes. So yes, white plays 46-41. So I build up. And now, basically, white is slowly running out of normal moves, right? So obviously, you cannot occupy the square 34 in these positions because I will just attack, right? So you need some space to breathe here for white. And here, Benno commits a mistake, so 36-31. And I actually find a nice plan how black can win the game. which starts with the move 12-18, right? And well, in this position, it's quite a long plan. So Benno played 41-36, and you know, after a relatively long game, so I use these weaknesses which he created, sorry, and won later. So of course, this is a very weak position. So you can easily play against it and win. Now, actually what I saw is what happens if you attack the piece. 28-23, okay? Then black can exchange. Well, this position looks pretty interesting, so very ugly formations for black, but a lot of tactical ideas. So obviously white needs to prevent somehow black from playing this move, right? And there are two ways of preventing this. So one way is to exchange. But this loses also a little bit tactically. So you can play, for instance, 8-13. Now you are threatening a simple combination, 21-27 and 11-17, right? So white need to spend one move to basically, you know, cover this field. So let's say 41-36. Now black plays 4-10, and black is winning because on the next move, black just wins a piece. There's no way to prevent it. So let us go back. So you may say, well, another nice move is 32-28, right? There's another way to prevent this simple combination. Well, now white prevented a very simple combination, but black has a very beautiful combination instead. So let me give you a couple of seconds and see if you will find it. And again, think about the fact that white has a lot of holes in this position and how you can use it. So if you found the move 14-19, congratulations. Say, this is exactly how the combination starts. So there are different variations of this combination. Okay, let's start with an easier one. So if you take with the piece 24, I take 9-18, you take to 12. Then I give you one more, you get a king. Then 8-12. You take here, and now I take a lot of pieces. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. White takes a piece, I take 2 more. And if you play, let's say if you catch my king, then black has more pieces than white and wins, right? So this is one variation. There is another one variation which is even more beautiful. Say, what happens if white takes in this direction? 23-14. Well, look at all these holes in white position. So probably you're able to use them. And the way you do it is you play 5-10. Whites get a king. Now 9-14. Now, it doesn't matter where white takes. The white's king will end up on 27 sooner or later. So let's take, for instance, let's take to 23. Then black plays 2-7. Then 8-12. And then we have even a nicer route to win. So we take 5 pieces. Say white takes 1 and we take another 5 pieces. So again, this is a very nice combination. It didn't happen in the game. but it was a part of a plan. So let us go now to another of my games where you see that combinations or tactics really can play a big role. And this is my game against Yuri Chertok. So I play with black. I think it was a Who's Open tournament. And well, let's see how the game developed. So Yuri plays one of his favorite openings, 34-29. So we develop our pieces, play 5-10, white plays 31-26. So let's stop here. Again, you have to know we always play against human, right? And different players, they have different strengths and different weaknesses. And one of the biggest strengths of Yuri Chertok is, he knows these variations of, let's say, this type extremely well for white. So you do not want to play this against him. He knows a lot of theory here. And of course, you have to take it into account when you play against such a player. So I switched to a different variation. We develop pieces. And white exchanges back. So if you look at this position appears in tournaments very often. And what are the key ideas? The key ideas are the ones which you will also see in this game. So sooner or later, white wants to occupy the field 24 and want to attack the field 23, right? And what are the black's ideas? Well, the black's idea is actually try to eliminate all those pieces over here through exchanges, to leave white with this very weak flank, or very overloaded flank, let's put it that way, right? So this is a plan, and we'll see how it works out in this game. So I play 17-21, 35-30, 20-25, and now Yuri puts up this column over here, which is very functional, of course. It's very, very nice to have. And again, my plan, the plan of black in this type of position, is to try to exchange as many of these pieces as possible to make this flank very weak. That's the plan. And to leave the other flank very overloaded. So in the first, the first move to start the plan is 11-17. 30-24, so finally white occupies the square on 24, and black then changes to 26. So I started with my plan. I exchange one piece. White develops 6-11, and white creates the very same column that we have before, consisting of pieces 41, 37, 32, right? So you think that by having this column, but also this column, white is in complete control. But it's not quite correct. It's actually the next move is very thematic. Black should not be afraid of occupying the square on 21. So of course, white can win the piece, but this is only a temporary win. So I can actually win this back immediately, and you can't permanently win my piece on 23. And what I achieved is exactly what I wanted. So this flank over here is quite weak, and the other one over here is quite overloaded, right? So of course Yuri understands this and just tries to wait. And I continue with my plan of exchanging. Okay. So Yuri builds up the same column once again. And again, I completely ignore the fact that he can win a piece. Because as we've seen before, if he tries to win this piece, I win it back and I achieve what I wanted. I made this flank over here, well, on this side, quite weak. And well, this is favorable. But he goes for this anyway. So he wins a piece, I win it back, and plays 3-9. Now, he cannot attack it immediately. So if he tries to proceed with the attack, and so it's very thematic that white doesn't have a piece on the field 50. And now if you play this, and there is a simple combination, which wins for black, right? So that's what I mean when I say that there is no immediate attack on white's side. So white has to proceed with a build-up. So white builds up, and black builds up. And then we arrive at this position, and I play 17-21. So now black is better. White needs to really find good moves. So for instance, if you play something like 31-27, this immediately is losing to this simple combination. And, right? So this is not an option. Another option would be to attack the piece. Here there are different possibilities for black, but black can, for instance, just exchange. And, well, it's true that black's piece on 2 is missing, but white's flank over here is very weak. So I think black's position is definitely favorable over here. So Yuri thought for some time and played the move 33-28. Okay, now what I do now is also very thematic. So very thematic idea in those positions, and try to find it. It's a combination, a very beautiful combination in my view, and very typical for this type of positions. So if you found the move 15-20, congratulations. So this is a really nice idea. 24 takes 15. By 9-14, exchange. I'm 1 piece down, but now 14-20, 21-27, and then I take to the king, and here I win, right? So this is a prime example how I executed a long-term plan, a very thematical plan, building on tactical ideas. And actually, I finished this game with a combination, right? But I didn't play for this combination all game alone, okay? So now, before we're going for a break, I want to put up a position which you should try to solve during the break. I'll just tell you that this position actually appeared in my game against Gerrit Bohm, where I played with white. But it's black's turn to move, and actually black can win here. So try to find a winning move. And after the break, I will tell you more. So we will give up on tactics, but we'll speak more about positional games. So I see you after the break.
Slow the road that you're on, keep it going. When the going gets rough, just remember how a heavenly touch lasts forever. In the end we are one. I have the patience in my soul, 'cause I know that it's worth it. These affirmations let me know that I'm already perfect. Hired I once, say yes I am. 100 miles up, say yes I can. Is it our love? Say yes I am. Yes I am. Yes I am. Hired I once, say yes I am. 100 miles up, say yes I can. Is it our love? Say yes I am. Yes I am. Yes I am. It's my life, so I tell me I'm alright, and it helps me realize that I'm wealthy, rich in passion, rich in magic. It's my life, so I tell me I'm alright, and it helps me realize that I'm wealthy, rich in passion. Yes I am. So devoted, no I won't ever stop till I'm floating, till I land at the top. These emotions fill my heart as it drops. Every moment, give it all that I got. I have the patience in my soul, 'cause I know that it's worth it. These affirmations let me know that I'm already perfect. Hired I once, say yes I am. 100 miles up, say yes I can. Is it our love? Say yes I am. Yes I am. Yes I am.
Yes, so welcome back. So I hope you enjoyed solving this nice combination. So let me tell you some more information about this game. So I play this against Garrett Baum, who's a strong player with white, and it was a very interesting surrounding variation from Keller. And I arrived here, and later I kind of managed to take over in this game. I did manage to win. The game was draw, but I was still pretty satisfied overall with the game, until we both realized that actually black could have won this position with a very nice combination. So if you found the key move 15-20, congratulations. So black gives 2 pieces, and now the real combination starts. 28-33. White takes 3 pieces. Now you already see where it's going. So black will have a king on 48. Now one waiting move, 16-21. White takes 2 pieces. Black takes 4. Now there are 2 options for white to take the pieces, but both of them lose. Well, I show you the nicer variation. So if white takes 29-18, well, Black has free tempo, plays 48, 42. White takes, black takes, and now you will see this beautiful position, right? And the black is clearly winning over here. So until now we handled, tactics and combinations, but in the next part I will try to show you some really positional games, some nice positional games. And when you develop your game, it is very important to be aware of your weaknesses. So be honest to yourself. So a lot of young players, they think, they win a number of games and win a couple of tournaments and get the results, and they think they're there, they arrived, right? They know everything and they can beat everybody. But this is, most of the time, it's not true. You have to be honest to yourself and to identify your weaknesses and work on them. So I can tell you a story from my drafts career. So when I started playing international drafts, I was in the age of, roughly 17, so it was quite late. Also, I had, of course, a lot of experience playing Russian drafts before. So because of my quite good calculation skills, so I could relatively quickly achieve some results, but it was still a really long way to go. And I think the story which positively influenced my draft career was actually, in the beginning of 2000s, I was doing my part of my PhD in Paris, and I had a lot of, I was working a lot, but also had a lot of free time. And then I decided, let's look at those kind of variations which are now very fashionable, which I played by all our top players. Let's study and let's understand what they're doing and why these variations are very good. And this kind of the first step. I started to study. I started to identify my weaknesses. I started to say, okay, actually, I don't play this type of positions very often. So if I play them, let's understand how it works. What are the typical plans, the typical moves? What should I be aware of in this type of positions? And one by one, I started to eliminate my weaknesses. And this brought basically my game on a completely different level. And this is still not the final step. So you then start, once you understood kind of what are the fashionable variations, what are people play, what are weaknesses, and how you eliminate them. The next step is a creative step. Now, as a very top player, you should be able to create your variations, your new ideas. You should be able to implement them. And a very good sign that a player becomes a top 5 or 10 player in the world is you can see this player has consistent games where each move has an idea, where you see almost a game-long plan from the beginning to the end. I call this complete games, right? And if you see from a player a lot of these complete games, it means this player is a really, really top player. And that should be your goal when you study. And so now I will try to show you some games, which I like very much, which contained some positional ideas. And I start with the game against Ndiaga Sam. And I think you all know this grandmaster, and who is usually playing very exciting draft games, who's now participating in the World Championship when you see this masterclass. So let's see. So I played this game, a little bit of story behind it. So I played this game maybe in the year 2000. So it's not like a long time since I switched to international drafts, and was still a young player. And here, I mean, from the perspective of Ndiaga, he would probably try to win this game, right? So I play with white, so let's see how we played. So we kind of play normal moves in the opening. And here I decide, okay, let's play something more exciting. So I play 31-26, of course, giving him an opportunity to occupy the field 27. And then we have one of this kind of very classical type of games where, well, black has strong center, let's say around these pieces over here, right? And white needs to occupy maybe these fields on the other side, one way or another. Okay, so this is the plan. We make developing moves. I exchange the piece on 23. Also, if you play this type of positions, it doesn't harm you if you win some tempi back, right? I'm still, focused on, controlling maybe to some extent the field 24, 29, and so forth on the other side of the board. So black is stronger on this side of the board, where white is stronger on that side. So again, we develop. Okay, and so now black commits and plays 20-25 as well, is not waiting further. So I occupied the field 29. And of course, maybe thinking at a good time point to play 30-24, but I have to choose a good time point to do that. So 10-14. Now I attack. Black defense. I play 41-37, and black plays 9-13. So now, we both developed. We arrived at this, first critical position where white should decide about the plan. And here I realize it's quite a good time point to play 30-24. So now black should be a little bit careful, right? So for instance, if there are ideas basically related to 24-19 and attacking the flank, or 24-20 attacking the flank. There are also, like if, for instance, if black just plays simple 5-10, this is also not a very good move because white will actually attack the piece 27 once. And when you defend, only then white plays 24-19. So you take two pieces. White takes 2 to the 17. And after all these exchanges, white is a piece up with probably a winning position. So, of course, Diaga is a strong grandmaster, and of course he sees, well, it's time probably to exchange this piece. Well, it became too dangerous. And white, of course, so what is the plan? White needs to prevent black from going 14-20, because if black plays this move, then all these pieces are basically blocked and they're useless. And I can only play on this side of the board, which probably will not bring me a positive result, right? So this explains the next move. So I use the opportunity to exchange to 24. Now we arrive here. Now, again, remember the situation. I'm still a young player, and I think that Diaga would like to, to keep the game interesting and dangerous for me, just to, give me the opportunity to go astray somewhere. And black can simplify the game by by playing 14-20, then white has the option to play this move and take the piece on 27, and then white also gets this piece on the 40 back, so we have equal pieces with more or less equal position, maybe with slightly bigger chances for white, and so it's understandable that black doesn't want to play this move. Now, if you don't play this move, you actually always need to be careful about this piece 24, because you should always expect, you should always expect a move like that with a potential combination. So Diago decides to play 5-10. And we keep on developing. So 40-40, 3-8. Then I decide to attack the 27 once. And after further development move, now I play 48-42. And now black plays 8-13, right? In this position, I decided it's the right time point to exchange to 29, right? So the position becomes, quite tricky for both sides. So, but black needs to be more careful than white in this type of position. So Diago plays 11-17. And here I find a kind of a very nice opportunity, which is not quite standard. So in drafts in general, you need to know the standard plans, but be prepared to play something non-standard if needed, and to recognize these time points. Where is the time to play something non-standard? That's the key to your success. So here, first I play 38-33. Now Diago plays 4-9. And, in this position, basically, standard move would be something like 42-38, for instance. This is a standard development move. But this is not winning, so in some sense, sooner or later, black will play 14-19, and white would need to exchange back to 35, and after that, white would have two attacking pieces against two defenders on that side. So it's not bad, but it's not winning. Maybe another option is this exchange variation. You just exchange. Then again, black would attack this piece, which would lead to even more exchanges, like back exchanges to 35. And this doesn't give you anything. So you should be prepared, as I said, to unusual moves. And specifically, when I was thinking about, playing the standard move 42-38, so why doesn't it work so well? Well, because afterwards I will have two attackers against two defenders. So this is not sufficient. So this gave me an idea, of course in my calculation, not when I arrived at this position, to play a different, much more exciting move, which is 43-38, right? And this move looks crazy. I mean, first of all, you see so many holes in white position. So you think there is a combination here. And if you think there is a combination, you are right. There is a combination for black. But white has a counterattack. So black potentially can play 17-21. So this looks like a nice combination. You give 3 pieces. You take 5. But white has a counterattack. 33, 28. So you capture the piece. I get the king on 4. So now in this position we have equal pieces. But the problem is that I'll probably win this piece on 33 by the next move. And then I have one piece more. And actually the white pieces are really well placed. So they can create a lot of capturing opportunities against the black king. So this looks, well, if not losing, it looks very dangerous for black. So this combination is not good. Well, if you try to give this piece away, then there is no combination on the next move. So it also doesn't work. So what to do? Now, the key idea, as I said, if black tries to attack, then I will have a waiting move. So let's say I will have a move maybe like 47, 41. I will exchange the pieces back. This is a kind of a very classical idea. And then we end up with a situation where I have 3 attackers against 2 defenders. So if there is no tactics here for black, this should be winning. So for this reason, so let's go like this. Say for this reason, he decides to play 7-11. Well, now I play another nice waiting move, so 47-41. Remember that my idea is, in case he attacks, to exchange back, and then to have 3 attackers against 2 defenders. So it's good already to bring these 3 attackers into their best positions to be prepared for this variation. So that's what I do. And now he plays another waiting move, 2-7. And I play another waiting move, 49-44. So now you may ask yourself, why exactly this move? Well, this has a very clear idea behind it. And to see it, you need to calculate really far in advance. And we will see why this move is so beneficial. So now black has no other choice than to attack the piece. Everything else is losing, so most variations are obvious. Maybe the ones which is, well, let's say the less obvious is 14-20, then I just give a piece here, give another 2 pieces, and get a king on the field 4. Okay? So in this position, the only move now is to attack. And now again, I play very precise move, 45-40, not 44-40, not 45-40. So black captures the piece and I exchange back. Okay, so let's look at this position. So here, by the way, black is already losing, but let's understand why. So again, as I mentioned, so white has 3 attackers and black has 2 defenders, right? So if nothing happens, if there is no tactics, white will win the piece on 27. But actually, Diego Sam relied on tactics here and played, well, at least it's a nice try. It's not a move which gives you a draw, but it's a nice try. 9-14. Okay, so what is the idea here? Well, the idea is that if I would attack the piece 27 now, there is a tactic. So black would give 2 pieces with one more piece and 12-18, and then take to 46. Now, black has 2 pieces less. White can play 40-34, and then after black moves the king, I give 42-37, you take, and then let's say I play this move. So we arrive at the position where you have 5 pieces for black, 5 pieces for white, but this is, of course, likely a draw, right? So this is, of course, not what I had in mind when I calculated this position. So having seen this variation, the next move makes a lot of sense. So before I will attack this piece, I play 40-34, okay? So what is the idea? Well, again, if black wants to survive here, it needs some tactics. And to keep the same tactics that you had before, you need to play 13-19. And that's exactly the move which was played in the game. But now I actually can attack the piece. So what is the difference to the combination before? Well, let's look at it. Now, if black takes the same combination, so, well, first of all, if you take on 48, this is easily losing. So white just plays 41-37 and that's it. So, but now if black takes on this field, I just, let's say, give 2 pieces over here. Black has to take. Well, now the situation is different. Now I have 6 pieces and black has 5 pieces and it's a winning position. Now if you go back, this is exactly the reason why in the previous positions I actually played the move 49-44 and why here I play 44-40. That's exactly the reason to account for these tactics, right? Now I can easily attack this piece, black has to defend, and now another exact move, I don't play 41-37, but I play 42-37. So what is the difference? So if I would play 41-37, black plays 7-11, and black still has the same tactic as before, meaning if I would attack, it's still the same combination. With 12-18, now black takes here, and now, well, again, I have 2 pieces more. I can actually, but I cannot catch the king clearly here, right? So probably I will not lose, but I will also not win this position. So for this particular reason, the right move is again 42-37. Now when black plays 7-11, now I attack. And now for the same reason as before, the combination doesn't work. Right? So you give 5 pieces to get a king on 46. But I can just catch it, right? I just catch it this way. I end up with 1 piece more, and I'm obviously winning. Okay. So now the only thing you can do is to defend. But now I just play 41-37, and with the next move, I finally win the piece 27, and I win the game. Right, and so this was an important victory in the tournament because later I won this event. And Diego Sam was my direct competitor, so to speak. So it was an important victory. But here, what we see, all these kind of non-standard moves which I played, they had an idea behind it. There was a precise calculations, and very precise motivation why I played it. So instead of going for a somewhat classical build-up, right? So let's see, let's look at another interesting game that I played with black against Günzes Valneris. So this was, again, in a Hus tournament. And so we played quite an interesting game. So I play with black. And, well, we go for this variation, which is pretty classical, where actually it is Günzes who decides, okay, today I will play something kind of more exciting, more interesting, so I will kind of try to surround the black position. So we will kind of see how it works. So we are building up, still a building up phase. Now, white plays 31-26, basically giving the opportunity to black to occupy the field 27 sooner or later, right? But black doesn't need to be in a hurry, so I'm keeping building up the position, right? So basically, both black and white play waiting moves before we come to this position. And of course, in this position, it's time to decide what to do. There are different plans, but it's on black to decide which plan to choose. So, of course, black can exchange here. Well, this is a playable position, but also with good chances for white to be able to surround the black center, right? Because a lot of not very well developed pieces also on the black side. Now another option would be just go for major exchanges, trying to occupy the field 28 instead. And again, this is very playable position. White could proceed with something like 36-31 or 37-31, and playable position for both sides. Okay, we would have another game. Now, what I played here is exciting move 2024. And it's a more exciting move than it's a good move. It's not a good move. And just to give you an idea, you know, every move, every game has a prehistory. So I can tell you the following: that basically this Hus tournament is a tournament which takes place in August, and quite often it takes place after longer breaks. After longer breaks where I don't have any tournaments. So you arrive there, and you know, the first games you play, you have to adjust. You know, you didn't play drafts professionally for a month or more, so this has also adjustment games. And I think this was the second game in the tournament, and I played this move because I completely miscalculated what happens next. But by doing so, actually, it resulted in an extremely nice and exciting game. So if I wouldn't play this, it would be definitely more boring. So let's see what happened next. So white exchanges to 28, uses the opportunity. So black attacks the piece once. Well, and this, well, I'm sorry to present it. I mean, I was already probably one of the top players, but I completely forgot that playing this move, 13-18, is impossible. Indeed, if you play this, there is a very simple combination where whites gives two pieces and then just gives one more piece and plays this, and white is winning, obviously, right? So this is what longer breaks without playing drafts give you. Right, those type of miscalculations. So here's the only move is what I played in the game is 12-18, natural move 48-42, and here I play 7-12. And I felt lucky that it's white's turn to play here. Would it be the black turn? This would be a hopeless position. And the problem is that Black cannot attack 18-23 because there are ideas where white could play 25-20 and then just win the piece, right? And this makes everything complicated for black. But fortunately, white can only keep this idea by playing the move 36-31. But here I have my own ideas after in this variation. So if it would be my move, it would be really bad. But it's white's move, so only for that reason I survive. And here it's a very interesting kind of effect. I remember that I was in this position, I was calculating quite a lot because I wanted to find opportunities to defend. So this is, well, this is a seemingly bad position for black, so I concentrated and I invested a lot of time. I used also Günther's time when he calculated his moves. And I just remember this time point where I just completely relaxed and all these calculations came extremely naturally to me. So relaxed, natural, I had no fear, everything disappeared and kind of played the game in a really nice flow until the end. And actually a lot of what will happen in this game, I have seen almost from this position. I mean, not to the end, but certain parts. So let's see exactly what happens. So Günther plays 40-34. Now I attack again. We exchange and I play 12-18. So here, position is not, white is probably better, but it's not kind of so clear anymore. So this flank over here is pretty weak. So white has to deal with this somehow. And white decide to deal with this in a tactical fashion. So 47-42. And the idea is if I attack again, which I did in the game, well then if you defend, so if you play this move, well, this is not super good anymore because, well, you are lacking the defenders. So it's not clear how to achieve an advantage here. But white's idea was basically to play this move, right? And now, well, you might think that white is winning by playing 33-29. But so white has one piece more, but unfortunately it's not winning because black has its own combination. And now we have equal amount of pieces, and if somebody is better, it's probably black, it's not white. Of course, Günther Valneris is a strong player, was a world champion. He has seen all of that. And what he does is he gives this piece first. And then he takes the combination. Now we have equal amount of pieces in this position, but this set piece on 28 really feels alone, right? So it's, if you're on the black side of things, it looks really scary. Now, remember what I told you, like around 5 to 10 moves ago, I have seen this position in my computations, and I knew what I have to do here. So I computed the way out of it. It looks scary, but it turns out that this piece on 28, which really feels alone, cannot be captured. So actually black even has time to play 15-20 just to control all those pieces over here. And now, so the basic idea over here is very simple. If you try to build up for white and to threaten to play 27-21, well, it looks very scary, but you cannot win this piece. So black plays 12, 17. So if white attacks, black can just exchange. And, well, black is not losing, definitely. So black is not even worse here. And, but you have to be extremely confident with black to come up with this type of variation. So white prepares, so plays 44, 40. Black plays 20, 24. And now white goes for a similar variation, so 36, 31. I have to play a 12. Well, now again, if you play this, I will play this move, and you cannot capture the piece on 28. I mean, again, after this, I just exchange, and well, I'm not worse in this position, definitely. So for this reason, so Gunters decides to wait more. So, and now we have in the phase of building up. 3, 8. Well, now the point is, so if white tries to build up and finally to win the piece, well, it doesn't work again, because I can just exchange on 22. And well, and here basically it's even difficult to play this move. I mean, it's possible, but it doesn't give you the winning position. So because I just give 2 pieces, take 2, and then, well, white probably needs to play this move. So, but it's definitely not winning. So here you cannot, in these positions, you cannot capture this piece. So for this reason, Gunters plays this move, 37, 31, 12, 17. Again, I don't have a lot of time here, but I have calculated all these variations in advance. So this is one of the rare cases where, you know, you calculate really long variations, you have worse position, but you just calm, you concentrate on, you know, finding opportunities, finding the right moves, and then you find them. So Gunters attacks. Well, I go on 32. So as I said, you cannot, so this piece is untouchable, you cannot win it. So we develop, and Gunters decided to exchange finally. So let's look at this position. So basically, of course, the position type changed. Now, well, I kind of control these pieces quite well. On the other hand, my flank over here is quite weak. So probably with a lot of tactical opportunities, I will not be able to win it, probably. But let's see what happens. So I play 5-10, 41, 36. And well, here actually there is a combination for black, but actually it's not winning. So you can play 17-21, 19-23. Then you give 2 more pieces, and then you capture on 43. But this is not winning. So, and the problem is that you basically cannot play this move. And white can play 31-26. And if you decide, so you cannot make a king on 48, and if you decide to play this, white plays 36-31. And then, well, with this idea in mind, black is definitely not winning. Black can actually lose this game. And of course, other ideas like moves like, so if white plays this, moves of this type, they also don't work, because I just capture everything over here. So it's not a winning opportunity. So it's actually black which can be in trouble after this combination. But again, I've seen all of this, and now it's actually, so what I play here is a kind of trick. It's a really nice trick, which I discovered much earlier in my calculations. And you know, the psychological issues are very important in drafts. So remember, I had a really bad position, and I had to escape because I really made a bad mistake. So for a long part of the game, Günther's Valneres was, you know, he had an advantage. He wants to win, right? And he's probably still in this mode that I want to win. I try to use my chances to win because I had this good position. So that's why what I played here, actually, this trick worked. So I play 18-22. And Günther's plays 38-32, and I play 8-13. So then we arrive at this position, and well, there are several moves here for white. Well, and many of which lead to a draw, like to a simple draw. Like obviously, if white wants to exchange to keep going forward, black can exchange. And well, white is not losing, but is not winning either. The two little pieces. So white is, if white is not careful, maybe it can lose. Maybe the easiest way to draw is actually this one for white. But so this is fine. There is nothing wrong with capturing back. But again, so white chances to win here are slim. So for instance, you can't even play this move to create this column because, well, I just play this, right? So Günther's decide to try something else, to try a nice variation to keep the game going, and play 32-27, right? So now with the idea that, well, I have to exchange, then, well, maybe he can exchange here, and maybe he, you know, maybe he can push. At least I cannot play this move because of the combination. But well, I don't think it's losing for black, but at least some chances, right? And yeah, so when he played this move, I mean, what is the idea? The idea is obviously, well, I cannot just play 13-18 because there is a very simple combination for white, right? But is there a combination actually for white? Well, the answer is yes, there is a combination. And white wins two pieces, but ends up with a completely lost position. And that's the key point here. I play this move. Now, white has no move except taking the combination. But look what happens when you take this combination. So white ends up two pieces up, but with completely lost endgame. Look at this nice control. My three pieces control this 5 over here. This piece on 14 controls the piece on 15. And the remaining two pieces are winning against 25 and 36. This is such a beautiful position. It's very aesthetic in some sense, right? And it's very hard kind of to miss if you are still psychologically on this track that you want to win, you want, as white, you want to use your chances. Well, the key thing is that I've seen this type of ideas that 32-27 loses after 13-18 from a long distance. So this is the key here. So, okay. So this is a kind of a really, really nice game, which you know, ended with Günther successfully taking the combination, except it turns out that it's a losing combination, right? So let's look at some more games with nice positional structures, and I will basically explain you how this complete games are created. So here, actually, well, it's written not quite correctly. So it's my game against Jeroen van den Akker, like strong Dutch player, but I play with white, not with black. So just be careful. And this is a very positional game. So let us start. So we go for this variation. Again, I play with white. So we build up. Again, 35-30. Remember the game I showed against Schwarzman where I used it before, but Jeroen was a player who was famous with playing with center. So he wants to be some tempi up, not down. So he might not prefer to play variations with 20-25. So he goes for a, in a way, somewhat easier build up, 14-19. I attack. Now, with this exchange, he wins 4 more tempi. And again, we're building up slowly. And here, he decides to exchange. Again, he is some tempi up. He occupies the field 27. Of course, these pieces over here are not ideal at the moment. But, well, if you are so far more in development, then maybe it's not like a big issue. And against, such strong players which can play with the center so well, it's not very easy to do a surrounding plan. So let's see how it went. So played one more move. And actually in this position, I realized that going for typical surrounding plans, they don't give me anything. So it's very easy for black to react. Like, okay, if I would try to occupy the field 28, just to give you an example, black just exchanged to 23, has no weaknesses, I have no chance to capture the piece on 27, so nothing will happen. So I have to change plans. So what do we learn here? So you need to change plans sometimes in your game to adapt to new situations. So this is important. So I decide, okay, I want, to some extent, I want to keep this weakness here, maybe try to play against it later. So I just attack 27 from that side. He defends. I build up again, and we arrive at this position. Again, to play against the piece 27 here is still quite complicated. At least what I achieved is he doesn't have a piece on 2. He also doesn't have a pieces here, and this can be important later, right? So when you play checkers, you basically what you do, you don't calculate concrete moves. You must have long-term plans, and you must visualize how you get there. So in this position, I already identify what what are the weaknesses of black, what are the weak points, which pieces are missing, which fields are empty. And actually this position will change in terms of style quite a bit in the next moves, in a very different directions. But my idea was to play on these weaknesses. I identify the weaknesses, I have a long-term plan, now I have to visualize how do I exploit it, right? I'm not calculating, okay, what are the next 3 moves? That's not how you do it. Visualize what can happen in future and try to get there. So now I decide, okay, I cannot play against the piece 27, so I give him the opportunity to exchange. So he changes back, and usually, I mean, you would say, normally, this position is kind of almost equal, right? But remember, there's some small weaknesses here and there, right? Some missing pieces. If they would be there, it would be a different game, but they're not there. So I try to exploit it. So again, we build up and arrive at this position. Now, so this is quite a typical plan when black has a piece on 23. You have this type of column, which is also very helpful. So it makes no sense to plant a piece on 28. So it's much better to just exchange this piece on 23, right? So I do that. Now, again, this piece 15 is relatively weak. So if you want to develop it, maybe it's not idea to attack once. Okay. So now at least I use the opportunity to, to get a bit more to the center and, to play on black's weaknesses, right? 7, 12, 40, 35. And now we have this kind of classical idea. Of course, I want to bring this piece over here and, try to do something. Then try either to occupy 29, 28, or 27, dependent on the black's plan, right? So black doesn't want to have any of it and decides to play move 1923. Here, so what is the idea? So you think white can attack, right? But, it's actually only better for black because black can just defend 13, 19. And, the idea is that black just wants to play here. And if I try to win this piece, I will just lose, actually. Right? So black plays 17, 22, or at least I get the worst position because if I capture over here, then we have equal pieces and black will capture my piece on the 19, right? So let us go back. So for that reason, I don't play this move. So I play 45, 40. Now black plays 3, 9. And again, I mean, black's position, it doesn't look extremely weak at the moment. But again, black weakened yet another square. And this is important. So here I decide again to change the structure of the position. I play 32, 28 and exchange. Again, remember I told you there is no piece on 7 and I want to exploit it. And the way you exploit it, now, after this change, black cannot exchange the piece because the piece on 7 is missing. So this is important. Now black thinks, okay, let me occupy 23, and maybe I would like to play this move, right? To occupy 28, occupy the center. But I don't bother about this move. I play 40, 34. And now, in many other type of position, black could easily play this move. And I know it's probably also possible here. Well, with the only difference is, if I play something like 34, 29, now, again, you see all these weaknesses, so you have no piece on 7, so you cannot build this type of column over here. On the other hand, if we play kind of random moves, let's say 10, 14, 30, 25, just to show you ideas. I mean, I'm not saying it kind of the best. It is probably the best. Now, you see the weakness of this missing piece. If the piece was here, black could easily change 14, 20, but it's not possible. So black is missing key pieces in the position. And for that reason, this position is not super easy to play for black. I'm not saying it's even worse, but it's not so easy to play. That sometimes it's sufficient. So black plays 10-14. Now I switch my attention to this piece, right? So I see that black doesn't want to exchange to 28. So the natural idea is to bring a piece to 32. So let's say this piece to 32. And then you have some surrounding ideas against 23, right? You can surround this maybe from this side, or maybe you can go classic on this side, and so forth, right? So it becomes less and less easy to play for black. So that's what I'm doing. 41, 37, 12, 18, 37, 32, 8, 12. Okay, now 8, 12 looks a bit strange. So you basically make this formation useless after playing 8, 12. But there is an idea behind it. So if white plays this move, black can exchange. And then there are ideas of the type, so if I play a random move like this, and white can take this combination. So it's a kind of tactical idea. And well, white can give a piece back, can exchange. And well, we end up with an equal position over here, okay? So this is the idea behind it. So I don't go for it. I try to play around this piece on 23. And so I need a really good grip on this on these fields, right, to do that. Then black attacks the other flank. I exchange. And you see that I have no pieces over here, so the flank seems to be quite weak. So black tries to attack it once again. I defend. Black plays 14-20. And now, okay, the idea is, of course, if possible, to play this move and to exchange. But things are not that simple, right? So I play this move. And finally, black can play 13-19. And you might think you're out of trouble because now you can exchange in the next moves. But you will see that I will switch my plan. So for a longer period of time, I played against this piece on 23. And now I also notice there is a weakness over here. There is a weakness on 6. So I switch my plan, I switch my attention from one side of the board to another. So I attack. So just pay attention. So of course you cannot just exchange because I have a small combination with a winning position. So after attack, you have to exchange back. 37, 31. Black plays 13-19, 38, 33, 10-14. Now I play 31-26, and more or less I force you to attack the piece, because otherwise I may play 27-21 myself, and then black is in deep trouble. Say 10-14, 31-26, black attacks, and I exchange. And let's look at this position. So at the later part of the game, I played against this piece on 23, right? And it was extremely important to control the fields around it. But now it seems like black has no problems. It can just play 14-20, has a good control over this field, and got rid of all the problems. So it looks like a really simple position. There is exactly one weakness in black's position, and it is this piece on 6. And now I switch my whole attention to this piece. And of course, I don't do it in this position. This was, of course, calculated. And because the problem is, for instance, if you play the move 14-20 and you really want to go for this exchange and you think you solve all your problems, well, now suddenly I can play this move. And if you do exchange, then I exchange myself. And it's a really nice minimalistic position where my piece controls two of your pieces over here. And actually this position is completely winning. So yeah, for instance, just to give you a sample line, after this I just attack, I attack again, and well, this is just losing. So let's say after this I place 38, 32, and this is it. And also, so if you look at this position, also try to think about the whole game, right? Try to think how often I switched plans and how complicated it is for the opponent to calculate a new position all the time, where the plans are very different. So he started on planting his piece on 27. So I played against 27 for a while. Then I decided to get rid of it. Then we had a built-up phase. He put his piece over here. Then I played against this piece. Now I switch my attention to another piece. So, and the opponent spends a lot of time on these computations. And at the end, when the opponent is in time trouble, now he has no time to find a good variation. So here he, I think, he plays the move 11-17. It is, I'm not sure if it's already losing, but it's quite a bad move. So now, again, I have some tactics. So I play 33-28. Then Jeroen, I think, realizes that playing 14-20 is quite dangerous because I just give a piece over here, another two pieces. And at least it looks dangerous, but it doesn't mean that it's losing, but it looks extremely dangerous. And now he just, well, when he realizes this, he decides to play 17-21, but this is a final mistake, which just loses. Chooses, nice, simple combination of this type. Okay. So again, if you look at this game, you might think there is kind of nothing special here. There is no crazy positions, but actually this is how most games are. So you have to be able to use even the smallest weaknesses in the position of your opponent. It's also, with many opponents, it's also favorable if you can switch different types of positions during the game, because it takes a lot of time for the opponent to calculate these different types. And so it increases the, the probability of an error at the end of the game. Okay, so let's move on to, well, a couple of more games where I will also show how this positional plans work. And actually, so we are recording this in the club of Lunteren. And here I present the game actually against one of the members, Henk Klarenbeck. Again, it's a strong Dutch player. So this game we played, I think, in the team competition, in the Dutch team competition. I played with black. And so let's see. So we have a very normal game. So this is, I think, called Dutch variation. And here I decide just to take, to go to some non-standard position. So I extend to 26. Nothing crazy. We build up. And I exchange to 23, right? So again, I give white the opportunity either to try to go to 24 and then, well, play surrounding or something like that. Or you can play the same way Hank played, just occupying the center, right? So here, because the white center looks too good, so sooner or later I will be forced to exchange to 24, at least to take some countermeasures against white center. So, but I can wait with this a little bit. So I wait until here, then I exchange. So let's look at this position. So there is nothing, there's nothing special about this position, right? So white doesn't have weaknesses, black maybe neither. So the more interesting it is how it's developed, how I managed with black actually to achieve some progress here. So again, we built up, say, in this type of positions quite often, so this piece on 24 kind of controls this type of pieces. So you actually try on the other side, you kind of try to exchange some pieces to make this flank weaker for white. And that's roughly what I'm doing here. So I exchange back. Nothing special yet. Okay, so build up phase, and here Hank plays 43-38, and this is the first small mistake which at the end of the day will cause the game, and this is maybe not so easy to say. So a more usual build-up would be like this, right? And the reason why the other move is weaker is because if you play, so if you play a move like this, and then I play a sample move, well, I don't know, like this, then you can keep this type of structure much easier, right? So you have the structure and prevents me from, so if I play this move, then I play, let's say, this move, then you can exchange it, right? It's much easier to do it. And this is the key piece. 43 is a key piece in the position. So if you take this piece away, then it makes those ideas much more complicated for white. And we will see it. So I play 10-14, 36-31, 7-11, 34-29. So this is probably also a slight mistake, because, well, this piece on 15 is relatively weak, and basically white is helping me to develop it, and is helping me to get a classical position, and I will have many trumps in the classical position compared to white. So let's see how it goes. So now I exchange, and now you basically see the problem. So for instance, if white were to play this, now I have the time to play 18-23, and you cannot play 39-34 because you are lacking the space over here. That's why this piece was important. So it's important for me as a player to recognize there is a weakness there and to play for this weakness. So white decides to play 40-34, but this means I have a really strong grip in the classical position. So I get a classical position with the move 18-23. So white is not able to build this formation. I will probably easily control this flank. And when this piece moves over here, I will probably easily control the other flank. And remember, in classical positions, if you control both flanks, it's actually, well, you have a better position. So let's see how it developed. So again, with the move 11-17, I'm just showing that I'm really fighting to control these fields, right? So if white tries to exchange and try to control, I immediately play 17-21 to get the control back. So white waits one more move, and now really, of course, not only here, but even a couple of moves earlier, So you have to start with very concrete computation. So here, well, we have very concrete moves. So I play 9-14, so this has a very nice idea. So again, I want to control both flanks. And well, if you think that white can try, you know, to do the sacrifice, well, it actually doesn't work because I have the move 35-40 in this position. So this sacrifice doesn't work, so this is important. And now white cannot prevent black from controlling both wings. So that's what happens. So white exchanges. Again, I want to get the control back over this wing. White plays 48-43. And so now, of course, with the idea, so if I want to attack, then white can just exchange the pieces. So this would be like an equal game, but of course this is not my plan. So here I have another move which is much nicer. So here I play 12-17, and the idea of this move is I'm not really against when white plays this move. I'm not really against it. So it's actually favorable for me because I have still control over everything. So actually this piece, which might be weak, 6, it's actually good here because if white were to attack, I need this piece to defend. It's actually quite a good piece. And in this position, so in this classical position, despite having this seemingly weak structure, I'm probably completely winning because white is running out of moves sooner or later. So white decided to exchange. And here I play another very nice move, 14-20. So what is the basic idea is, okay, if you try to attack, I just play 19-23 and play this move. Okay? And I'm winning. And my idea is, so next move I will attack, white will have to exchange, and white is so many tempi up in this position, and it's a classical position that it's running out, basically white is running out of moves. Okay? Good. So let's see what happened next. Okay, white plays 44-39. I attacked. We exchanged, but of course, so what you see, as I said, so it's a classical game. White is many tempi up, but white has no columns here, so everything is very loose. So it's just a matter of technique to win this position. So let's just see. So I bring a classical position. White, as I said, white is just running out of moves. So, and has to sacrifice a piece. And then the game finishes actually quite fast. So here I decide to exchange. And then actually, well, white cannot play this move because I just have simply 19-24. And I think Hank played this move. I played 41-46, and he resigned, right? There's nothing basically to do here, right? So, well, this is it. This was kind of my last game, which I tried to show you. And well, I hope you enjoyed the masterclass. And well, remember, we actually have a world championship running out, so I hope you enjoy watching the games. I hope you learned something about tactics, something about how to build up your game, how to get these complete games where you have ideas behind each move throughout your whole game. And well, I hope this masterclass help you to improve a little bit. Thank you very much for your attention.